Hello, welcome once again to Pale Blooms and Beyond. Thank you for joining us today. If you do like the programming you see here and the musicians and artists I visit with, please be sure and hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel. Kevin Johnson is an internationally renowned Australian singer, songwriter, and guitarist, popular during the 1970s. Kevin's music is steeped in rock, folk, and country. He is best known for his 1973 hit, Rock and Roll, I Gave You the Best Years of My Life. The song is one of the most covered songs written by an Australian. Cover versions include renditions by Mac Davis, Gary Glitter, Terry Jacks, just to name a few. Over his career, Kevin has recorded and released 9 albums, several compilations, and a slew of singles. Countless musicians have recorded Kevin's songs over the years. Mr. Johnson has toured Australia and Europe several times, appeared on radio and TV alongside many well-known artists. And for over 50 years, my guest's international appeal has never waned and is still popular today as he ever was. Well, welcome, Kevin.
Glad to be with you.
Thank you for taking time out. Well, take us back to the beginning. Where were you born?
I was born in Rockhampton, which in Queensland, and I spent the first 20-something years there and then moved south. I had started singing in hotels and beer gardens and whatever, and then I joined a band and we were playing all the Beatles and Stones records and a few others, of course. Yeah. And then I started writing songs, and then I moved to Brisbane first and then on to Sydney, and that's where I hang around. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's slow down. Otherwise, this will be done in 10 minutes. So we don't want to go that fast. I want to hear a little bit more background.
Yeah.
Do you recall early on hearing music in the household when you were growing up?
Yes. The first I had things, but the one that really made me start on this path that I've been on for a long time was Roy Orbison's Only the Lonely, and he was a Texas boy too. So it just knocked me out. It was a combination of an amazing voice, an amazing song arrangement. Everything was about it. And that was my first starting point. That got me going. Yeah.
All right.
And I still love it, even if it's playing in the street. I'll stop and listen to it again. You know, it's a great. Well, he made many great records. Yeah.
Right. I've heard a couple of Texans. He and Buddy Holly were so influential, as well. So, yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Were either one of your parents musical?
My mother played the violin. She was a good violin player. Never did anything with it after playing, for a few dances and that after I was born. But she was a good player. But she tried to teach me the violin. But I used to memorize the bit, and I'd be watching the kids at the other kids. I don't have any brothers or sisters, but other kids playing outside. And finally, she walked in and said, "Put it away. You're not interested." Which I did, yeah. So I never went on with it, unfortunately.
You wanted to be outside playing, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to be out there with it. Yeah.
Right. Well, speaking of, when did you pick up the guitar? When did you start playing the guitar?
In my late teens, I suppose, or very late teens, or early 20s, I guess. Very late teens when I heard Roy Orbison song, and I started then, and then progressed after, as I said, to singing in beer gardens, and then into a band, and then I moved, and I've been a solo sort of artist ever since.
Well, thank goodness you weren't so low that we couldn't hear you. Sorry,
exactly.
That's a lame joke. That's a lame. Well. Can you recall one of the first live concerts that you attended, that you went to?
That I attended to see somebody else, yeah.
Yes.
Well, certainly Roy Orbison, saw him a couple of times in Brisbane. Saw Beach Boys were actually on before him on one of the shows, so we saw the Beach Boys at the same time. Saw what's his name, the guitar player in Led Zeppelin. He was with
Jimmy Page.
Yeah, Jimmy Page. with another band at that time. What were their names? It started with an S, I think. I can't think of them. But anyway, he had just joined them for a while anyway. Saw them, saw a lot of great people at that time, but never saw the Beatles actually. But I did meet their manager many years later, but never, not their manager, their engineer, but and producer. But no, I can't think suddenly of all the concerts we saw, but we saw quite a few in those days. Yeah,
See if I can find out that band for Jimmy Page. He was in the Yardbirds, a band.
Yardbirds.
Oh,
That's who we saw.
it was the
Yeah,
Yardbirds. Okay, okay,
yeah,
okay.
they went to Brisbane. We saw them there, and
Oh,
a
that
lot
would
of
be
yeah. Tom T. Hall, we saw him, met him. He was great. Let me see. My mind has gone blank, but it's usually blank. It only gets started occasionally. Yes. I'll think of a few others as I go.
That's all right. That's all right. Well,
Yeah.
what was the music scene like?
Oh, sorry, Billy Joel. We saw Billy Joel.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, it'll come to me. That'll come
It's
to
all
me.
right.
Yeah.
Throughout our talk, if they come to you, just mention them. That's fine.
Yes, I
What
will. Yeah, yeah.
what was the music scene around you as a teenager? What was it like?
Well, it was very good up where I was living at the time. My wife came from up there, the same area. It was very good because, as I said, that was in the 60s, mid 60s sort of thing. And the Beatles were raging at the time. We used to play a lot of Stones stuff, and the music scene was very, very healthy there. You know, a lot of people would turn up each week at all the shows, you know, so we had a good time. Yeah.
Okay. Well, were the Candymen, was that your first band?
Yes, that was the band I was in, the Candyman. And
Okay. Okay.
we had a good time. We thought we sounded great. Maybe nobody else did, but we thought we did.
Well, you've got to like it first, right? You know.
Yeah, well, actually, I told a lie in the song. I said sounded just like Paul. I didn't. I used to sing all the John songs because their voices were somewhat more similar than Paul's. So, but I told a bit of a lie there. It rhymed better.
Okay.
So I went with it.
You went with it.
I was
Okay.
always I was always one to go to the cheapest option.
Okay. You sound like me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Well, who was Carl Joy, and how did you show up on his radar?
Joy was a national figure in rock and roll. He had a number of big hits, and he was like, at that time, there were a couple of Joy, Johnny O'Keefe, and a few others who were really big names in Australia, not necessarily outside of Australia, but in Australia. They were huge in the rock and roll field. And he and his brother and his family formed this company, and they used to record people. They had a publishing company, but they also bought out a lot of artists over the years. They bought Frank Sinatra out and Billy Joel and many people, and Roy Orbison. That's how I met Roy Orbison when he was here. And he was a very influential singer, and he liked. I sent some songs away, and he heard them, and his family heard them, and they all seemed to like them. So that's how I got started in terms of recording. Yeah.
Okay, through call. Okay. Well,
Yes.
you moved to Brisbane for a year and wrote
Yes.
for other artists, and
Yes.
you also got married while you were there.
That's right. Yes. Yes. I got married. And my wife Jill, she came, as I said, from the same area, so we were um, boyfriend and girlfriend when we left Rockhampton. But then we got married in Brisbane, and we've been together ever since. We have two children, and that's been the story. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what were some of the other artists that you wrote for at that time?
Uh, there was a girl out here, Little Patty, who was another rock and roll success in Australia.
Oh, yeah.
Sandy Scott, Judy Stone, and a number of people in that who were associated in some way with the Jacobsons, and
Right,
they
right,
recorded. Yeah.
right. I've got a an album, a compilation of the female Australian singers from that time period, Yeah, because
Oh yeah,
yeah, a few of those that you mentioned, yeah, familiar.
yes, yes, yeah,
Yes, yes,
yeah.
yes,
They were very successful. Judy Stone and Little Patty. Yeah, they were
yes.
very successful. And being with the Cold Joy label, they enchained them into the studio and forced them to record my songs, which was nice of them.
they,
Maybe
had,
they liked them as well. I don't know.
they had to
Yeah,
coerce them to do
yeah.
that. Well,
Coercion. Yeah.
then you were on to Sydney, where you recorded your first single, "Woman, You Took My Life."
Yes, that's the one
On
that Tom Jones picked up. It got at that stage not many Australian records were getting released overseas, but it was picked up immediately by Decca, and that's how him and his manager come to hear it. And that's how he recorded it. But
oh
which was good because I always loved Tom Jones as a singer. He's a great
oh
singer.
oh yes, oh yes. In
Yeah.
fact, do I still have that over here? I used to have a. Don't see it right. Oh, here it is. Yeah, I sure do. I had it right here. I got this. It's like real affordable. It's like four CDs on one.
Oh yeah, Close Up was the one I was on. Is that it?
Yeah. Close up. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's yeah. It's got Atomic Jones, Green Grass of Home, Delilah, and Along Came Jones. It's got like four CDs on this one
Oh right, that'd be
kind of a
great. Yeah.
box set thing. Well,
Yeah.
how did you come to record on Sweet Peach?
Um, I was signed as I think I indicated there with the Coldjoy Jacobson label, as it was known, ATA at the time it was called. And then somebody come along, a guy from England who was him and a few others were starting this new record company, and they liked the songs, and they wanted to do a whole concept album with me, telling a story. So I left the Jacobson Enterprise and I went with Sweet Peach. They were a new company that don't exist anymore, but they did some rather adventurous things at the time, and they went on then a bit later when I recorded Bonnie Please Don't Go, which was a big hit for me. So that was with the Sweet Peach label when I recorded it.
That was with that. How long were you on that label? For how long? Do you remember?
Oh, a couple of years, I suppose. Yeah, a couple of years. And
Okay.
then they sort of went out of business, and then I went into another independent label after that. We then did Rock and Roll. I gave you the best years of my life.
Well,
So
your first album on Sweet Peach, "In the Quiet Corners of My Mind," released in
yeah,
'69, was
yeah,
highly acclaimed in Australia. Did quite well in
yeah.
Australia. Yeah.
Yes, yes, it was very well received critically, and it wasn't a bad sell. I think it's 4 copies. I bought 3 of them, but never mind. I won't go. I won't go into that side of it. But it was no, it was got great critical acclaim, and still sort of some people's favourite album that I've done. But and it told a story, as I said, with a variety of musical styles in it. So it was an interesting one. Yeah.
Yes. Was that your first time in a recording studio?
No, I had done a couple of things before. I did that single, as you said, that Tom Jones picked up, and I had done a few other things with the ATA label, but that was the first time I'd done an album. Yes.
Okay, first time with the full album. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Bonnie, Please Don't Go, She's Leaving, which you mentioned a little bit ago, was a top 20 hit in '71.
Well, it
Did
was higher than that in most of the
yeah,
states here. It was either number 2 or number 1, but some of the other states mightn't have been there. So anyway, it was an average. But it was a big hit for me. It was something I was watching with my wife one day. An old black and white film come on at that time, and it was Petticoat Junction, and the
yes,
old guy, forget
yes,
his name, the old guy, he was down at the railway station sending or the railway yard sending somebody off on the train, and they were playing Old Lang Syne with this dreadful out of tune band, and I thought that was very atmospheric. So I made
yeah.
it more contemporary or more done in these days around a ship leaving. So that's how the song came about. Yeah,
Is that how it came about? Okay, I like to hear those stories,
yeah.
the history behind the songs. Yeah,
And there
Petticoat.
was another.
Go ahead.
another curious to that song, because it's got a Scottish influence. Um, I was looking for a Scottish name, Bonnie, and I used to work in a pub in Rockhampton, a hotel in Rockhampton, singing by myself at that time. And I was sitting on a stool, and there was a woman there who was drunk every night, just absolutely rotten every night. She was an older woman, and I sang Bobby Darin's 18 Yellow Roses, and she became overpowered with emotion, ran down, and I was sitting on a stool, and she threw her arms around me. We both fell backwards off the stool, papers onto the stage, and she's slobbering all over me. That's where the name Bonnie came from. So I probably destroyed a lot of illusions with that story. But why not?
You most likely did, yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, a singer, Jim Ed Brown, covered the song too. U.S. singer
Yes.
Jim Ed Brown. He was with the Browns, who had that
Yes.
hit, "The Three Bells." I remember that song.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. He did a very good job of it. And he also did another one of mine called I Came to Somerset, which was on the same album.
Okay.
And he did a great job on them. He was very good. Yeah, very nice. So I was pleased to hear that one. And he did well in the charts there too, I think. It
Yes,
was
he
in
did.
the country charts. Yes.
Yes, he did. It shot up the charts here. Exactly. Wow. Well, you signed a 3-year contract with Tree International, which is a
Yes.
US based label.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It was,
Matt, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, sorry. It was a company in Nashville, and it was very big. It was Tree International pre-publishing company, and they had Dial Records as well. And I signed it as soon as Bonnie came out. I signed a deal with them for 3 years to write songs for other people, but also they were going to fly me over and we'd record my own stuff. I went 2 years and I didn't write many songs, but I didn't care. But nothing was happening with me recording wise. So I was following a big hit in Australia with Bonnie Please Go with nothing for 2 years because I'd signed to this other company. So I got annoyed, frustrated with this. And I had just written Rock and Roll, I Gave You the Best Years of My Life. And I thought, I'm going to do this myself. So I asked to be released from the contract, which they did. Buddy Killen was in charge. He was a great guy.
Yeah.
And we got on very well. And he said, that's fine. So anyway, that's how I left them. And then I recorded Rock and Roll, I Gave You the Best Years of My Life. And they still have the publishing rights of it.
Yeah. Oh, they still have that. Yeah.
And many other songs of mine as well. So.
Right. Some few introspective songs during that time period. Shaney Boy, about your son.
Yes.
About your son.
That's right.
Shane.
Yes. And I got a little bit of unfriendliness. It was shooting at the. It was a funny thing. It was released and made slightly into the American charts for me and a few other versions, and went on for a couple of years. And then UK Records, Jonathan King, released it again, and it made the charts again. And Mac Davis picked it up, and a few others, and it was a big hit again.
Yes.
And Mac, the guy in England, wanted me to fly over and do Top of the Pops, which I said I will, but I can't do it next week because my son's starting school, and I don't think he quite understood me or agreed with me. But I said I just can't do it. So in the end, I stuck to it and didn't do it. I went to the school, and unfortunately, it was a little bit detrimental in how the record was roaring up the charts. So I don't think he was ever too friendly with me again. But anyway, that's what happened. But it sort of kept going over a few years.
Yeah. Speaking of Jonathan King, did you happen to see my interview with Jonathan? Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll send you the link whenever you have time, so you don't have to scroll.
Yeah.
But it was October last year in October. I talked to him. Yeah. So that was nice to hear about that. The 10cc and Genesis and all of that.
Oh yeah. A lot of hits.
Yes.
We've spoken since then. He seems to be very pleasant. He always said he admired me for doing it, but anyway, it was nice enough. Yeah. It was probably a silly mistake on my part, but I'd probably do the same again. So Fools never learn.
Another couple of songs that from that time period, "Iridescent Shadows" and "Over the Hills and Far Away." Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
enjoy both. I enjoy both of those. Yeah, I
yeah. Thank you, thank
yes,
you. Yeah, well, they do look at a couple of different subjects in a in a way that I thought hadn't quite been looked at before. But anyway, they've been popular songs for me over the years. Yes, I certainly have never done a show that I haven't had people asking for those. Yeah, that's right.
right. Well, talk a little bit about the background to the song "Rock and Roll." I gave you the best years of my life. How that all came to pass.
Well, to a certain extent, it had a little bit to do with the tree thing where sorry, where I hadn't recorded for 2 years and was just sort of sitting around. And you don't follow a big hit record with nothing, so that's
Yeah.
the thing you do. So I, I was driving home one day in Sydney. That's where we used to live. I don't live there now, but we used to live there for many, many years. And I got the idea of giving somebody the best years of my life. And then I thought I'll make it closer to the truth, giving somebody the best years of my life. And so there was a little bit of, at that stage, frustration that things hadn't gone as they should have when, things hadn't, because I wasn't recording and whatever. So there was a little bit of that in it. And I also based a little bit on the Australian scene where everything tended to follow the American or English market and not sort of try to do something of their own. So there's a little bit of that in there too. There's a lot of different things in some songs, and there's certainly a lot in that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the single was released on Good Time,
Yes.
and then it reached number 4 on the Australian singles chart. It did real well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a big hit, and it made it in America. As I said, it was released on a jazz label, which was mainstream. I don't know whether you knew mainstream at all, but there was a guy, Bobby Chad or something. I think he used to run it. Anyway, he picked it up straight away, and it was more of a jazz label than certainly not jazz, but he got it he got it started in America. Yeah, yeah.
In the chart.
It's
Okay.
a great job. Yeah, yeah.
And then it made the UK top 40 as well. So yeah,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a real big hit.
And many other European, like Germany, has probably always been my strongest market.
Has it?
So
Okay.
it
What
did a
what
lot
do you,
of things.
what do you
Yeah.
think what do you think it is that appeals to the German audience about your music?
Yeah, no, they all speak English, and I think they liked the lyrics. Strangely enough, you wouldn't think that in a country that speaks another language. But I remember um, doing a show once, and the producer of the show came up to me after, and somebody else had been on, and he was doing this wonderful playing the piano and singing. And I said, why are they applauding me so much more than him? He sounds fantastic to me. And he said, well, your songs say a lot and his songs don't. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
this was a strange observation from somebody living in another country. And as I said, that they flew me over once to do all German lyric versions of the songs. I did them all badly, but I did them. And somebody else had written the German lyric, so I had no
Yeah.
control over how good they were. I don't know. When they sent them out to radio, which they did,
Yeah.
radio mostly sent them back and said, we don't like them. We'll stick with the original. So
Did they?
that was
Okay.
the end of that story. Yes.
Yeah,
We didn't go any further with that. Yeah.
yeah, that's funny. Yeah, hearing that. I talked to a couple of UK musicians that now live in Germany,
Oh, yeah.
and they said, yeah, you can get by. You don't have to learn German because most people there speak English.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you
Well,
really
I
don't.
didn't speak German. Yeah. And my attempt at German sounded nothing like what a German would sound like. So it was,
Right,
I was just reading it the way it looked.
right, right.
That's not what I do. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, right, right. Well, the song was the title track to your 1974 album as well.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the cover versions.
Yeah.
Mac Davis reached number 15 on the Billboard Hot 100, in '75.
Yeah.
Uh, did you
Yeah.
enjoy his version?
Oh, yes, it was a great version. And to be perfectly honest, when I first wrote the song, somebody said to me, "Can you hear anybody else singing this as well?" And I said, "Yeah, Mac Davis."
Oh, is that right? Okay.
I
Yeah.
had absolutely nothing to do with him ever hearing it, but he heard it on the radio. I spoke to him on the phone once when I was going through Nashville, and he said he just heard it on the radio and he liked it. So, but we had nothing. I had nothing to do with it getting to him, sort of thing. So, but and he did it slightly different than I imagined he would do it. But it was a good version. And Terry Jacks did it up in Canada. He had a big hit with it too.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Joe DeSanne, a lot of people sang it. The fiddler from what was his name?
Oh, Doug Kershaw.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah,
Okay, Doug
yeah.
Kershaw.
You've
Yeah,
got a better memory than I have. Yes,
that's
yeah,
all right. That's
yeah.
all
Doug
right.
Kershaw. There were a lot of versions,
Yeah.
scores of them. Yeah. So,
Well, yeah. Well, that's kind of interesting because the Texas connection because Roy Orbison. You were influenced by him, and then Mac Davis, a Texan, covered your song. So it was kind of
is
like
he
a
a Texan too?
yeah. He was born in Lubbock. Yeah. So it's kind of a full
Yeah.
circle. Kind of a full circle there.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize that. Um, I we went across America once. I'd done all these things in Europe, and we were coming home. My wife, my other son Scott, and Shane, and my wife. Somebody suggested when we were in New York, you could get a Greyhound ticket across America, and you make up your own schedule. You just get off wherever you want to get off, and they guarantee you. I don't know whether that still applies, but it was a great trip. We went right across America through Texas and
Oh, did
stayed
you?
a few hotels there, and it was a great trip. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a tourist bus. It was like your normal people from those areas that were
Right.
very interesting. Yeah,
Right. That would be a nice way to see America. Yeah. A Greyhound like that.
yeah, it was. It was great. We saw a side of America you wouldn't see if you're just on the tourist thing.
That's right.
So
That's right.
it was
That's
great.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's why I prefer. Well, these days you don't want to fly anyway because you have to be at the airport all day with all the security and everything like that.
Oh,
But
and
before
then you
that,
miss anything in between. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry, you
But
miss anything that's in between the two towns, don't you? Yeah,
right,
exactly.
right.
Yeah.
But even before that, years ago, when it was you didn't have to be there all day. I would prefer to drive somewhere because you get to see more
Oh,
of
yeah.
the scenery. If you fly,
Yeah.
you miss so much of it. Yeah, and that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
well,
Totally
well,
agree. We live near the Gold Coast at the moment. We go to Sydney. We always prefer to fly. My wife and I. We
yeah,
drive, if we
yeah,
can. So
yeah.
if you're in a hurry, obviously you don't. But it's a great trip.
Right,
You
right.
see so much more. Yeah.
You sure do. Yes,
Yeah.
you do. Yeah, yes, you
Yeah.
do. Well, let me ask you. Well, moving on here. Okay, 27 artists, different artists covered that song. Wow,
Yeah, at
that's
that time, there's been a lot since then, but it was a very successful song in terms of other people recording it. Yeah, and they're still doing it.
those,
You
so,
see versions crop up on
yeah,
the Spotify and all those,
yeah,
YouTube and all that stuff.
yeah.
So it's still going. Yeah.
Right. That it's got a longevity that song does.
Yes.
It
Yes.
does.
Yes.
It does.
Well, it
Well,
tells a lot of people's stories. People who didn't make it, not only in that field but any field.
any
Just
field.
yeah, it didn't quite make it as big as they did, but they had a good time trying.
That's right. Well, you would stay in Sydney and play around Australia. Uh, where all did you play live?
I did quite a few national tours here, and I've played live overseas. I did few shows in Germany. I did a lot of shows in Ireland and England, but not a lot in England. But I did shows over in the European area, and as I said, I toured Australia a few times nationally. So those are the two. I was never one for doing a show every weekend, if you know what I mean. I sort of blocked them all together and then forgot about it, sort of thing, for a while. Anyway, Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hope that the audience who threw tomatoes at me, that they forgot it as well. They may come next time.
That's right. They thought you were hungry. You
Yeah,
you look like you could eat some tomatoes. So that's
yeah, fry them up. Yeah, fry them. Yeah.
right, right, right. Well, did you prefer playing live, or did you enjoy like the songwriting and the recording process?
I don't think I ever enjoyed any of it, but um, on a good night, the live thing can have its immediate appeal. Yes,
Yes,
if everything's just under control and it's all going well,
right.
and the recording, the writing, I don't like at all. I'm always glad when I'm finished them because they're a tormenting process. You
Yeah.
start off with a couple of lines that work perfectly, but then you got to finish it. So
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
yeah, the perspiration comes in there. And that's the same with recording. I don't think I ever enjoyed recording because I am after something, and it's sometimes difficult to achieve. And A lot of people don't realize if you have a song which is considered a good song, that doesn't necessarily make it a great record. There's
Right.
a fine dividing line between how you do a thing, whether it's a magic to it or if there isn't. And 99% of the time, it won't be magic. You just got to try and find that. So that's what makes it a difficult process. Yeah. And
Yes.
why I never really enjoyed it. I like it when it's finished and
When you're
it works.
finished with it, the finished product. Yes.
Exactly. But I
Well,
think all artists would say the same thing.
yeah. Yeah.
I don't think there'll be many that really enjoy it. They enjoy it when it's done and it
When it's
worked the way they wanted it to work. Yeah.
right, right, right. I think that's a similar sentiment. Yeah, with a lot of musicians. Yeah. Well, your
Yes,
your next album, "A Man of the 20th Century," included another song about one of your sons, your youngest, Scotty. Yeah.
that's right. Yes. He was, we were touring at the time overseas, I think, and Shaney Boy was on the first album and he was getting, well, I tell the story that he was getting a bit perturbed, but I don't think he could have cared less, really. But I say that. So I wrote a song for him, of course, and tried to cover a little boy in a slightly different way. Yeah. And so they still say they got a certain amount of torment when they were going to high school with these songs floating around. But oh well, you survived, I say.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
they like the songs. They're only joking, but they were good songs. I've always done them in every show I've ever done. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this may have been what you were talking about earlier, but to promote the album, you toured Europe with dates in Switzerland, Germany, Ireland. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. How was Switzerland? How was playing Switzerland?
Well, strangely enough, the first show I did outside of Australia was Switzerland. We went
Oh,
to Basel, which is where Roger Federer comes from, and I taught him
yeah.
much of the tennis while I was there. No, I'm only joking. Wish I had. But uh, we went straight to Basel, and as soon as we landed, I come down with the worst laryngitis I've ever had in my life. I couldn't even speak a word. Nothing was coming out at all. And I had to do this special the next night at the TV in-house sort of audience thing, and I couldn't say anything. And we went to a specialist, and he had me breathing in these vapors. I don't know what they were, but it was fantastic. And I always was scared to watch the show that I did because I thought the singing would be so dreadful with the problems. But I got it years later, and it was some of the best ones I'd ever done. And how that worked with that guy, he must have been a genius. That I don't know who he was, the specialist who I went to, but whatever was in it was fantastic. So
Wow.
it
Good.
really
Like
was.
like like to
That was
bottle.
the first, sorry.
I was going to say you like to bottle and sell that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Anyway, it was a special that was shown in a lot of countries over there, and it worked very better than I thought it would because I was worried about the voice. But Switzerland was the first. We used to go to Switzerland quite a bit and do television shows there.
Oh,
I
okay.
probably did more television in in Europe than I ever did concerts. I don't know why, but I did a lot of television shows there.
Okay.
And Switzerland, Austria,
Yeah.
Holland, or the Netherlands, or whatever,
Yeah.
Germany, England, Ireland, whatever. A lot of
How what?
television.
How did you like doing TV spots like that? How did you
No,
enjoy
not
it?
too bad. They knew what they were doing. I always liked their approach. They had a nice, subtle approach to how they did things. It was good. Yeah. Once
Oh.
again, it's all over in 3.5 minutes or whatever. So you get out of there in a fast taxi.
Right. Were they were they
Hopefully,
were
yeah.
they all live, or were some of them mimed?
Not all live. No, some of them would be playing, miming. Some would
Yeah.
be live. Some
Yeah.
would be with a band, or it all depends. Various things. So, but
Okay.
it was good. I did a lot of shows with a lot of different people. Frida was on one of those TV shows from ABBA.
Yes.
Billy Ocean,
Oh yes.
Hot Chocolate, a lot of Val Dunican, many very good artists.
Oh yes.
No
Val
shows. Yeah.
Val Dunican, what a crooner! What a voice! Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a great guy. We knew him well. He used to come and have dinner at our place when he came to Australia, and I did his show, and he had a show on the BBC in London, and television show, and I did his show with him. We did Shaney Boy together, actually.
Oh, did you?
So,
Okay.
yeah, it was great. He did a lovely job of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he also recorded Scotty as well. He recorded both of them on record, but he also did, we did that live, Shaney Boy live on TV. It
Okay.
was great. Yeah,
With
he was a great guy.
with
Great
Val,
guy.
I've heard good stories about him. Yes, I have. Well,
Yes, yes,
the songs "My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean" and "Rolling Home" were recorded with James Last in Germany.
yes, yes. James Last was doing a program called Songs of the Sea or Songs, something like that, Songs of the Sea. Those old songs about the sea and whatever. And so they assembled a whole cast of European artists and myself to do the different songs. And we did them all with the James Last Band uh, orchestra, which was quite a big orchestra, the violins and French horns and everything you can think of in there. Uh, and so that's how he come. I come to do those two songs with him, and he did all the arrangements, or his arrangers did, or whatever. And we performed them inside an old, what do you call a dock? I suppose you call it, where you load stuff,
Oh
coffee, and all
yes,
that coming in from the boats. The whole thing was done inside a big
was it?
place like that. Yeah, yeah, it was great. You could smell the coffee from it. It was an old place in Bremen in Germany. It was a very old place, but you could still smell all the coffee and
Yeah.
everything that had gone through there for years. It was a great, great night. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Anyway, he did a great job. He's a nice guy, very nice guy, James Last.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I've got a couple of his compilations where I love the sound of his orchestra. I love that. And
Oh yeah, he
yeah,
knew what he was doing. That's for sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yes, he did. Yes,
he
he
was
did.
huge in Germany and in those areas.
Right.
In fact, there's a guy over there now who plays violin. What's his name? Has somewhat the same idea. He's got a big orchestra and he goes out the front and he plays the violin. He's huge. He sells enormous number of DVDs around the world. I can't think of his name, but I think he
Is he?
might be Dutch. But it's similar somewhat to
Okay.
James Last. Yeah, what he
Okay.
used to do. Yeah,
What he used to do. Okay. Okay. I can't
yeah.
think right off the top of my head, but
No, no.
well, the list of artists that you've recorded or that have recorded your songs is as long as my arm, or maybe both my arms. To put together. You know, are are there covers that are special for you?
Yes, I really loved it. There was a band in the Netherlands called the Cats. I thought they
Yes.
did a very, very good job of it,
Yeah.
and they made it like number one. In fact, they did a TV interview with me out here a few years ago, saying that rock and roll, thanks to them, I suppose, and myself, uh, had made the top singles every year for 40 years or something in that area. It's
Yes.
come up as one of the most popular songs, and it had a lot to do with them because they did a great job on it. And, so they did a great job. I'm just trying to think of some of the other. I have a
Yeah.
bad memory. I think I've told you,
That's all.
but
My favorite from the Cats is "One Way Wind." Do you know that
oh
song?
yes,
Oh,
no, I don't know. No.
okay.
But
Oh,
I've listened to a few of their songs. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
they were very good. Yeah,
Yes, yes, yes. And there was another
Gary
band. Go ahead.
Gary Glitter did a version. I'd
Oh,
forgotten
Gary,
about that.
Gary Glitter.
Gary.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, oh, in America too, there are number of people. I'm just not Cold Joy, and quite a few Australians did it as well. So, but Johnny Devlin did a version, I think, and Cold Joy. Yeah, I'm running out of. I can't remember, unfortunately. But
Right. Well, did you tour the U.S.? Did you play here?
never played in America. No,
Yeah.
I don't know why. I
I,
just didn't. But
yeah.
as I said, we went across and had a good look at America. It was great, and spent some time in Texas. I was a mad reader of cowboy books, so a lot of
Oh,
my heroes
okay.
they had six guns on
Yeah.
both hips, and I
Oh,
was
yeah.
a
Yeah.
great
Did
fan
you?
of Western.
Yeah.
In
Let me
fact,
ask.
my favorite two films would have to be uh, um, um,
Shane. Shane.
now, Eagle Shane is one of them. Yes,
Uh,
well, three films.
uh,
Gregory Peck, my God, it's set in Texas, of all places. What was his name? What was the name of it? The Big Country. Have you
oh, Big
seen that?
Country.
The Big
Yeah.
Country. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
One of
Yes.
my favorite films of all time,
Yes. Yes.
and followed by and also Shane, and also the One-Eyed Jacks, Marlon
Yes.
Brando, and
Marlon Brando. Right.
once
Right.
again
Right. Yeah.
another Western.
Yeah. Did
But
you did when you were growing up as a kid, did you have the the six shooters, the belt and all that with the did you get
July, and they had the caps that made a noise as
yeah, the
well.
cats.
I don't know how many people I shot out in those areas.
I did too. I did too.
Oh, did you? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I used to
yeah.
have those.
It was a magical world, the world of
Yeah, wasn't
cowboys.
it?
But
Wasn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
fascinating to me. Yeah, I think all around the world, grew up,
yeah,
admiring cowboys, and I
yeah,
know
yeah,
talking to a couple of the musicians in the UK, they said they used to go to the theater like on for
yeah,
matinees of like the Lone
yeah,
Ranger and things like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, on the weekends. Yeah, yeah, they used to
Oh,
go.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
They were. I watched one the other night again. It wasn't an old cowboy. It was more of a modern day. The Steve McQueen Junior Bonner. There was sort of the
Oh
Sam
yeah.
Peckinpah did the film. I was always a bit. I never went in for the series like the Lone Ranger and things like that
Right.
too much. I went for the more serious films.
Oh,
But
me too.
that was a great film. Junior Bonner too.
Yeah.
The
I like
aging rodeo rider. Yeah, it was
right.
great.
It's the ones that I really like are the spaghetti westerns. That's the ones that I really like.
Oh yes,
The
yes,
good, the bad, and the ugly, and
yes,
yeah,
yes, yes.
for a
Oh,
few
they were.
dollars
Yeah,
more. Clint
yeah,
Eastwood.
yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Clint
because
Eastwood certainly did himself justice by going in them, didn't he? It
yes, yes,
certainly worked for him. Yeah.
right,
Um,
right. And then
yeah, they were entertaining, weren't they? Yeah.
Ennio Morricone. I love his
Oh,
theme
yes.
music.
Yeah,
Yes, that's
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
love
was great.
I love
Yeah.
that music. Yeah.
Yes. They had a lot of those Wild Bunch and all those. That was another Peckinpah thing, but what they seem to have forgotten now with a lot of westerns made these days is you need a good strong story and a good strong
Right,
script.
right,
Uh,
right. Yeah,
People those days still acted like human beings and how they reacted with each other. They don't
yeah,
sort of walk around saying hardly anything and just shooting people.
right.
it,
No. But, yeah,
it, it,
I don't.
it's
There's not a lot of new movies that I like, really, at all. Because
those the new ones. Yeah,
yeah,
you're right. Yeah, Yeah,
I don't know. And then they keep remaking the same movies over and over again. It's like come up with something different, have an
yeah,
original idea or something,
yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah,
Too much of that. Well, well,
yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
go ahead. Say what were you going to say? Go ahead. You were going to say something. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
no, no, I was waiting for you. Yeah,
Okay. You
yeah.
wrote the music for the film McGee and the Lady.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of Americans come out and did the film in Australia. Sally Kellerman, who was Hot Lips and MASH,
Yes.
and Tony LoBianco, who was in the Seven Ups, and I think, and he was in French Connection, which was a
Yeah.
great, yeah,
Oh,
great movie.
yeah.
Yeah,
Talk
and
about great movies. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that was one of the great ones.
So-
He anyway, they did this Australian film, and they asked me to write the music, and which I which I did. So it was a good experience, and it was a little bit easier than writing just a song because you've got a
Okay.
vision to
I
help
was
you
going to
with the
ask you.
song.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it was
yeah.
easier. Okay.
I found it a little bit easier than writing a song where it has to tell the story as well as the visuals in someone's mind. But
Yeah.
you've got the visuals already there. So, no, it was a good experience. Yeah.
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 How is it? Yeah, seeing your music come to life, like in the screen, on the TV. Like you have your music, and then there's the video of
Yeah.
it. There's coming to
Yeah.
life,
No, it
coming
was
to
very
life.
good. It was a pleasing experience. And they, they didn't get on too well with my record company here in Australia, who delayed signing a contract for about a year or something. So had all these other projects they were going to use me on, but they couldn't because they would never work with this other company again. I got caught in the middle of it, but it was a good experience. Yeah.
Yeah. And another movie, A Fatal Bond with Linda Blair.
Oh yes,
Ah,
yes,
and you actually appeared in that one. You were
I
in that
did.
movie.
I did. I appeared in, and she was very nice. Had a long talk with a couple of few occasions with her. And there was a lead guy in it with her, Jerome Ellis, who was a really nice guy, but unfortunately he died a few years ago. But he was very good. It was a good combination, the two of them. They worked very well, and it was a good experience. And I knew the director, Phil Avalon, who put quite a few films together, and he came and asked me to do a couple of films over the time for him. So it was a good experience. Yeah.
Okay. We'll have to track down that movie online or something, and maybe on Netflix somewhere and watch it to look out for you
Yeah.
in in the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, yeah. Oh, you mean Fatal Bond? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
right. Yeah, I'm there. Yeah, I'll tell everybody the story. I'm singing on stage a thing called "A Hard Act to Follow," which was one of the songs on one of the albums, and I'm singing away. I said, this fight started in the room, typical of one of my concerts, and everybody laughs.
Yeah.
I said they're all trying to get out the door.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
that's funny. Yeah,
it was a good experience. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Well, in 1996, you adopted your biggest hit for the AFL, Australian Football League, as Aussie Rules. I thank you for the best years of our lives. Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yes.
They came to me and asked me would I do it if I would agree to changing rock and roll. I gave you the best years of my life to Aussie Rules. I thank you for the best years of my life. And I wasn't slightly interested. I wasn't aware at that stage how big the AFL is because it's an enormous sport in Australia. It's by far the biggest thing in Australia. Anyway, they kept persevering, wanting to get me to do it. And finally, we agreed on the money side of things, which was a motivating factor on my part. But,
Yeah.
and I agreed begrudgingly, yes, when we got to the right figure. So I agreed with it. But every man has his price, as they say. But it was a great experience. They were very good to work with, and they flew me around Australia where I performed the song at many 100,000 people venues like the Sydney Cricket Ground and the Melbourne Cricket Ground and all those huge venues around the country. So it was a great season that I did with them. Yeah,
Okay, you enjoyed that. Yes, yes.
yeah,
Well, we'll talk about your song, "The Spirits of Old Sydney Town."
yes. It was a long time ago. I wrote that about the time of the Sydney Olympics, and I had written the song and then I recorded it, and somehow the people who were organising the music uh, for the Sydney Olympics at the time, they somehow heard it, and the guy who was handling that at the time was a drummer with a band called Midnight Oil. You probably have heard of Midnight Oil.
Yes, 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 I
He
have.
unfortunately, sadly, he was a really nice guy. He died the other day, only a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, did he?
And he heard it and he really liked it and he was going to try and do something for that. But because it's really not to do with these times, it's set with the old music of 200 years or 150 years ago or something. It wasn't used in that regard, but it's always been a popular song of mine ever since. And as I said, it's done in that uh, old-fashioned way, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean. So
Well, I love a lot of the old traditional folk music anyway. You know, I have a real affinity for traditional folk, you know,
yes,
you know,
yes,
especially like sea shanties and that kind
yes,
of thing. Yes, it's
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
yes, yes. Well, that's what that as we earlier about that program with James Last. That what it was all about sea shanties. I
sea
couldn't
shanty.
think of the same sea shanties at the moment at the time, but it was a very good experience, and they were great songs that they'd unearthed. I'd never heard one of them before. Rolling Home, I hadn't heard it. It was a great song, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean. My Bonnie Lies Over the
Ah,
Ocean.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
speaking of sea shanties, how did the song "A Whaler's Lament"? The whales are singing to me. How did that come about?
it came about because it was a scientist in Germany um, who has sadly, unfortunately, died since. But she was an admirer of my songs, and she wrote to me and said, "Could you possibly write something about the whale?" Because he was the big defender of the whales and stopped the whale slaughter and blah blah blah. Always going to these big conferences and whatever around the globe. And she was a scientist, as I said, and so she asked me to write the song. So I wrote it about a whaler looking back on his unfortunate past, and he'd now learned new tricks, and he doesn't do that kind of thing anymore. And so that was what the song was about. And it's a popular song. It's been watched many times on YouTube and so over the years, and it seemed to strike the right chords. But Greenpeace and a lot of others had sort of got
Right.
behind it.
I was
It
going
was
to
very
ask about
good, good experience.
green
Yeah,
Greenpeace.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I thought they would latch onto that. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, yeah. It's
yes,
for many years. You've been concerned about the environment as well, and you wrote and recorded
yes,
what will we do when the well runs dry? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's a good question, I suppose. At the time, it was certainly making people are trying, I know, to make a difference, and hopefully we will in time because there is no question. I don't think that global warming is there with us, and each year the planet seems to get hotter and whatever. So the ramifications of all that are dreadful for the generations to come if we don't do something about stopping it. So certainly I've done a few songs that say the same sort of thing, like A Hard Act to Follow is another one, and I've done a few of them, yeah. But and that's certainly one of them, yeah. What
Yeah.
we'll do when the well runs dry, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's nice that you do have that, sentiment and that you do care, enough
Yeah, yeah.
to write songs about that. Uh, so,
Yes,
well,
well, I think we all have to. I mean, many of others, many other artists, and not only artists, a lot of other people are doing the same thing or better than I'm doing it. But it's wise to try. Yeah.
that's right. That's right. Exactly. Well, I want to hear about your concerts at the basement with two of my favorite singer-songwriters, Doug Ashdown and Mike McClellan. under
Yes.
the moniker Jam. I like that, Jam, Jam.
Yeah. Well, it was Johnson, Ashdown, and McClellan that where
Yeah,
the jam was from. Yeah.
right, right.
But Mike, it was Mike's idea. He'd been wanting to do it for years, and I wasn't that keen on the idea. And Doug was Doug, and he wasn't keen on anything. But he's a
Hey,
great guy and a great
I'm
talent.
I'm
But
laughing.
he's a little bit furtive at times. But
Yeah, yeah,
anyway, we agreed to do it, and we did it, and they were great shows. I must admit, they really worked well. The three, because we have three completely different personalities.
yes,
Uh,
yeah,
and Doug is a different person off stage. On stage, he is very good on stage. Off stage,
yeah,
he's a different person.
yeah,
Great guy, but different kind of
yeah,
personality. And Mike is so the three of us had worked together
yeah,
somehow, and we did quite a few shows, not only at the basement, but up in we went to Queensland, to the Gold Coast, and a few other places as well. We did them, but then Doug lives in Adelaide, and Mike now lives up in Queensland. And
yeah,
at that stage, I was living in Sydney. We sort of stopped doing them, but
right,
it was a pity because everybody loved the shows. Yeah, they really went over very well. Yeah.
right. Well, you may not have seen my interview with Mike
No, I
McClellan.
haven't.
Okay, I'll send you the link to that one too. That
Yeah,
was
that'd be great. Yeah,
this is 2026 now, right? You know, it's so early
yeah,
into the year. What I want to say like 2025. It's we're still 2025, but we're not. We're 2026. So
yeah.
it was actually 3 years ago I talked to Mike. 3 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I'd
But
be really interested.
I'll
Yeah,
send you that link. Yeah, super
yeah,
nice
that'd be
guy.
great. Great.
Super.
Yeah, yeah,
But you know, I laughed when you said that about Doug, because I
yeah.
reached out to Doug, but he turned down my offer. He turned it down. So yeah, does that surprise
I'm
you?
not
Does
surprised.
that doesn't surprise you, right?
People wanted to release. We did a video of that um, one of the shows at the basement, and the basement actually videoed the whole thing. And years later, only last year or something, people come to us wanting to use that whole concert that the three of us did at the basement for
Yeah,
some putting it out as a DVD and whatever. We didn't have to do anything; they'd do it all for us. Mike thought it was a good idea. I said, "Give me a listen." I listened to the whole tracks, and they sounded very good. They were very good. I said, "It's okay." So I have no objection. Doug would never borrow if it wasn't interested. So now you know you're not
okay,
the only one.
okay, okay. Well, I did an interview with an American. What's his name? His last name is, yeah, Roy Rutanen. Do you know Roy Rutanen? Does that name sound Rutanen? Roy Rutanen. He
No, I don't.
he recorded a solo album in Australia. He's an American,
Oh
but
yeah,
he recorded. I want to say it's around the early 70s, somewhere in that period. But he was affiliated with, or friends, became long time friends with Ashdown.
oh yeah,
And
oh yeah.
he even asked for me too. He said, "Well, I'll put in a good word for Doug." The second time I've asked him, didn't hear back. Didn't hear back. So
No,
yeah,
no, no.
so yeah,
He might have come out. That guy that you're talking about, I don't know him, but there was
yeah.
a organization in Melbourne that used to do called the Troubadour.
Okay,
Um, they used to bring out sort of acoustic guitar playing type people to do the, it was a sort of a bluesy type singer songwriter venue, and they used to bring them out all the time. So he might have come out and do that. That's where he might have run into Doug Ashdown. Yeah.
that may be where it is too, because it was something about his. Yeah, it was kind of like a group of them there. I think that's.
Yeah, well, there would have been a few
Yeah,
artists probably
yeah.
there when he was there. Yeah, yeah.
I think that
It could
may
have
have
been.
been. I was just going to see real quick. Yeah, it was 1971 album on MCA in Australia. It was recorded on MCA. Uh, I was just looking real quick if it's Rutanen used R&R. He lived on Manly Beach. That's where he
Oh,
lived.
Manly was, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
He said, yeah, and it was a kind of a communal. Yeah, that's what it was. It was kind of a
Oh yeah,
communal thing.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Doug was in that sort of. If he was slightly folky, Doug
yeah,
would be involved somewhere in that sort of because he was mainly a sort of a
yeah.
folky person at
Ah,
first. Anyway, he
right.
could sing anything. He was very good, Doug, but
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
he might
His,
have met him in those
his,
circles. Yeah, yeah.
right. His Winter in America just that gets me every time I hear that. I love that song. Winter in
It's a great
America.
song.
Yeah, it
Great
really
song.
is. It
Yeah,
really is. It really.
it was
Okay.
written by him and Jimmy Stewart. Jimmy Stewart is an Irishman. Yeah, and he
That's
wrote.
right. That's right.
He was good. He was the lyric writer, and Doug used to do the music.
Do the
So
music. Do the music.
yeah,
That's right. That's right.
yeah. Well, actually, Jimmy brought those lyrics to me first, and asked if I'd write the song, and I said no, I don't write with other people.
Yeah.
Um, I'm hopeless. I wouldn't get on. I won't do it. So then he took it to Doug, and Doug did a great job with it. It's a great song. Great song.
Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
He got us all into singing the chorus. Winter in America.
Right.
We're all there.
It feels cold. It's one of those songs. It just feels cold.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great song. It's got
Yeah.
a lovely feel, and
Yeah. Yeah.
did a
Yeah.
great job. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
it's,
a couple more questions. When was the DVD Kevin Johnson Live at the State Theater recorded? When was that recorded?
1985. It was recorded, and I left Festival Records because we never saw eye to eye with anything, and so. And I was talking about putting that straight together as soon as it was done. And somebody rang me up and said, we'll own it no matter what you do with it. We'll own it, even though you paid for it to be recorded. And I said, well, go to hell. It won't be recorded. And so I did nothing with it just to spite them. I probably made problems for myself. But
Yeah.
anyway, they did nothing with it. So I left it. And then, a long time later, I then thought, put this together. We'll put it together. Finally put it out there, So
Yeah.
that was how it happened. It was a long delay before anything happened. Yeah.
Uh,
I was the producer of all my records, and I used to have
yeah.
the final say, of course. And every time the acetates were cut, I had this problem where I used to have three different machines at home where I could test the needles. If you had a sophisticated needle, it was perfect. But if you had a run of the mill one, it would
Yeah.
distort on certain gravelly notes, and I
Yeah.
would take
Yeah.
it back and back. I was not popular, I'll tell you.
Yeah, that's good. I know. That's good.
Yeah, so when I tell them I was leaving, they were very pleased.
Well, they were they were happy, right?
Yeah, they were. They were.
They weren't trying to talk you into staying, huh?
No, we left on a good note. Yeah.
On a good note. I like that. Your is the Devil Found Work? Is that your latest? The Devil Found Work?
It is. That's the last album I did.
Okay. Okay.
Devil Found Work. It's on that particular. It's a strange combination of an album. I got an album, a couple of tracks on there that I recorded many years ago and did nothing with them, but they were still on 24-track tape. And I bought all my own tapes and 24-track tapes from Festival when I left them. So I had all the 24-track. And there were a couple of tracks on there. One is a song with a big band playing behind it and the usual rhythm section that I use, which I've always loved. I don't know whether anyone else in the world loves it, but I do. And it's a great jazzy feel. It was orchestrated by a famous jazz guy who used to be with the ABC Orchestra here and do all their arrangement. So it was a good track that I resurrected from those times. There's 4 other songs on there that, once again, are songs from our grandchildren. My wife Jill and I have 4 grandchildren, and Emmy, Lou, Gypsy, Lola, and Saskia. And so I wrote a song for all of those on that album.
On that album.
But yeah, on the same album. They're all on there. But hopefully they look at younger years in a slightly different way, and I hope to capture it on all of those things. Whether most people in the world put 4 children's songs on the one album, I have no idea, but I did in that particular case. And as I said, I never learned from my experiences,
You never learn.
but I like the tracks, and I wanted to do them for while
Yeah,
they're relatively young. Yeah,
right, right. Well, you don't spoil your grandchildren, do you?
I do, and I won't lie about it. But in a nice way, yeah, in
Oh
a
yeah.
nice way.
Well, I think that's nice because you do the two songs about your sons and then about your songs about your grandkids. I think that's
But
great.
I've got one for my wife on there too,
Oh, okay, okay, yeah.
called "The Lights of the Distant Harbour."
Oh,
It's if you see it on YouTube, and unfortunately there are a few versions there that other people have put on of YouTube. But the one that I've got an actual picture of in the actual video clip, that's the most recent one. If you're looking at that, you'll see there's a photo of a girl in on the actual where they've got the different video clips displayed. That anyway, that was written for her, yeah, years ago. Yeah,
okay,
so,
okay.
so I've covered the waterfront to a certain extent, and
Yeah.
I also did one for my parents. In there's a song on the rock and roll album called "Their Song," which is about UFOs. And my parents were traveling from Rockhampton down to see me when I was in Brisbane, and they left early in the morning, about 3 or 4 o'clock. It was pitch dark, and they come across one right beside the road, hovering above the ground, and they described it in absolute detail of all the things underneath it and what it looked like, and it slowly drifted away. And they were terrified, of course, because there's nothing there. It was just bush and black night. Anyway, it was in all the newspapers. They reported having seen it, and so they were part of that song. Yes, so I covered the waterfront.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. I believe that. I think we're not the only creatures in the universe.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And it was some sort of a lesson too to my parents, because there was a farmer who we all knew very well, not far from us, and he was coming home from one of their properties a long way, quite a way away from Rockhampton, in the middle of the day, and there was one just off the road. He stopped the car, run over, got through a fence, and ran towards it. He said, "I must have been crazy." I ran towards it. He said it took off with amazing speed and no sound. It just went. And it was in all the papers as well. And my parents said, "Oh, he was drinking, drinking." You know what I mean? And they
Hmm.
didn't believe him. So then they saw it themselves.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That stopped the discussions. But yeah, they saw it, and with minute detail. Yeah,
yeah.
there's no doubt there's something out there. Why would we be the only one when there are billions and billions?
That's right. That's right. I think that's too egotistical to say that
Yeah, that's
we
right.
could be the only
Yeah,
ones,
exactly,
or
exactly.
we're the only intelligent life. No, I don't. Right?
Well, I am anyway.
You are. After this, before I forget it, I'll send you Jonathan King and Mike McClellan. I'll send you
That'll be great.
so you
Thanks.
can check them
And
out whenever you'd like. And uh,
and
I,
I'll find out from you where Doug Ashdown is hiding, under which bush he's hiding.
right. Okay. Yeah, maybe somebody can
Okay.
prompt him to do that. All right.
Yeah.
Well, all the best to you,
Great
Kevin.
to talk to you.
It's been very enjoyable, and I will send you a copy of this edited a little bit, probably
That'll be great. Great.
this time
Great.
next week, so you can
Yeah.
post it, and then it'll be on my channel. It'll also be there. So,
Great.
all right.
Okay. Well, you can give me all the details. That's great.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Yes. All right. Thanks again,
Great.
and I'll say bye for now, but not forever. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, for good. Okay. Great to talk to you.
You
Bye.